Fine. So in the last session, yeah, please unmute all. Right. So in the last session, we have discussed how to create a virtual machine, what is a virtual machine, how to install a virtual machine, right? And how to install a Windows Server 2008 R2 in the virtual machine and all we have discussed, okay? If any doubts are there, just let me know. Otherwise, I'll proceed the class, okay? Right, this is my virtual machine. I'm starting my virtual machine. So today we are going to discuss how to install the SQL Server, okay? How to install the SQL Server. So before installing the SQL Server, we have to know some of the requirements. What are the requirements to install the SQL Server and all, right? Minimum requirements and all we have to, okay? Minimum requirements. Minimum requirements for installing SQL Server. So today I am going to install SQL Server 2005. Okay, SQL Server 2005. I am going to show you how to install SQL Server 2005. Again, I will show you how to install SQL Server 2012 also. Okay, 2005. Why I am showing in the SQL Server 2005 means still organizations are using SQL Server 2005. Of course, you will not get any chance to install SQL Server 2005. Why? Because that is very old version. Okay, that is 15 years old version. So you will not get any requirement of installing SQL Server 2005. But why we are listening means SQL Server 2005, basics of SQL Server 2005 is very important. Okay, so if you just learn what are the internals of 2005 and all, the same concept you can apply to all the versions of the SQL Server. Okay, for the latest versions, I am going to show you how to install SQL Server 2012 also. Okay, that's why we are installing SQL Server 2005. We are starting our installations with SQL Server 2005. Okay, then after that I will show you how to install SQL Server 2012. If you know how to install SQL Server 2012, the same concept will be applied for SQL Server 2014, SQL Server 2016, 2017, 2019 also. Same how we did in the SQL Server 2012 installation. Same we are going to. So there is no different methods for each version of the SQL Server. Okay, there is no different methods of installing for each version of the SQL Server. All versions we are going to install the same. Okay, maybe one or two extra features will be there. That's it. Okay, but the base installation is same, right? So what are the minimum requirements, minimum software requirements and minimum hardware requirements we have to understand. Okay, hardware requirements for installing SQL Server. So what are the hardware requirements? What are the hardware means? What and all will come under hardware resources?
Storage,
Storage, very good. After that,
RAM,
very
CPU.
good. RAM, CPU, very good, excellent. Okay, these three are very important. Okay, so RAM, at least 1 GB RAM should be there to install SQL Server 2005. At least 1 GB RAM should be there, and storage at least 3 GB storage should be there. At least I am saying these are the at least, but in the organizations we are not going to install on these kind of machines. Okay, as the last class we have discussed it, right? If we got any request from the customer, okay, Windows people will build the machine. So Windows people will contact the customer, how much RAM you need, how much storage you need, how much CPU you need. Then customer means client, okay? Client will set something, okay, I need 16 GB of RAM. I need 500 GB or 1 terabyte of hard disk or else 2 terabytes of hard disk. I need 2.6 gigahertz of CPU. Like that they are going to tell, okay? Then based on their client requirements, Windows people will build the machine. So we no need to remember these hardware requirements and all. Okay, why? Because you are going to install SQL Server on already a built machine. Okay, so Windows people are going to build the Windows server. So while building the Windows server, we have to give RAM, we have to give storage, we have to give processor and all, right? So Windows people will take care how much RAM they need, how much CPU they need, how much memory they need. Okay, memory, RAM, both are same. Okay, storage, how much storage they need, they are going to build the machine. So minimum 1 GB RAM, minimum 3 GB hard disk storage, right? And 1 gigahertz, 1 gigahertz processor speed, 1 gigahertz processor speed. These are the minimum hardware requirements for installing SQL Server 2005. Then software requirements. What are the software requirements? So software requirements means what? Can anyone tell me what kind of software requirements we should have? Anything come under software requirements. Any software come under software requirements.
Network framework.
Network framework, very good. .NET, yeah, .NET. Yeah, any other software requirements? Okay, right, fine. Of course, if you want to install SQL Server 2005, you should have SQL Server 2005 software, right? This is also software requirements. And if you want to install SQL Server 2005, you should have Windows Server OS, right? Windows Server. Here in this case I am using 2008 R2. Okay, so these are all come under software requirements. You should have one OS, and you should have SQL Server 2005 software, and on top of that you should have .NET framework, .NET framework 2.0, 3.5. In the Windows Server 2008 R2, this .NET framework 2.0, 3.5 will come inbuilt. Okay, no need to install separately, it will come inbuilt. Okay, for 2012 machines, Windows or 2012 machines, we have to install separately. Okay, for Windows Server 2012 machines, we have to install .NET framework separately. But for SQL Server, sorry, but for Windows Server 2008 R2, this .NET framework setup will come inbuilt. Whenever you install the OS, automatically .NET framework also will come. So no need to worry about the, okay, .NET framework in the Windows Server 2008 R2. So we have discussed these are the hardware requirements. Then how to check whether my system meeting the hardware requirements and software requirements or not? Okay, for checking the RAM and processor, okay, we are going to use MS Info 32. Let me connect to this machine remotely. What is the IP address? 192.168.43.23, right? Okay.
Is it static IP?
Yeah, actually it's not static IP. We are connected to the internet, right? So what happened is, whenever you change the internet, like today I connected to mobile hotspot, tomorrow if I connected to any internet, any other internet, say like Hathway, okay, act like that. If you change the internet service provider, this IP address is also going to change. Static means what? Fixed IP address. Okay, but here you will not get fixed IP address, but in the organization you will get static IP address. Okay, as of now this is dynamic IP address. Right. Okay, so now let me check the hardware requirements. Okay, what is the query to check the hardware requirements? Windows R, run. Okay, MS Info 32. right? If you just type ms info 32, ms info 32, you can see this system information window. Okay, so here you can see whether the machine is a physical machine or virtual machine. Okay, how to identify the machine is a physical machine or virtual machine? If you open ms info 32 system information, okay, there you can see, okay, if it is a virtual machine, you can see virtual box, VMware, Hyper-V, this kind of names in the system model column. Okay, if you can see Lenovo, Dell, okay, and this Asus, if you can see any vendor name, then that is a physical machine. Okay, if you can see virtual machine, virtual box, VMware, Hyper-V kind of thing, that is a virtual machine. Okay, so you can see the RAM here. Currently I have 2 GB of RAM for this machine. Okay, and your processor, you can see here Intel Core i5 2.5 gigahertz of processor. Okay, we should have 1 gigahertz processor for installing 2.5, but we are having 2.5 gigahertz of processor, right? So we have more than the minimum requirement, right? So this is all about your RAM and your CPU. And how to check the storage? Of course, you will open my computer and you can see the C drive space, how much C drive space is there, you can easily identify. So you have 13.7 GB of free space in the 24.8 GB. That means you have 13 GB free space. Okay, so you should have, how much you should have? At least 3 GB free space should be there. I'm having 13 GB, so this is also more than our minimum requirement. That's it. Okay, right, fine. And we also need Windows installer version. Windows installer version 4 and more than 4. Okay, 4 and more than 4. So what is this Windows installed means? Windows installed is one kind of software. Whatever softwares you are installing in a Windows server, okay, Windows installer will help you to install those softwares, anything. It's not at all related to the SQL server. If you are installing a Zoom, if you are installing a SQL server, if you are installing a .NET framework, if you are installing some other antivirus softwares, any software you are installing in the Windows machine, Windows installer will help you to install those softwares. Okay, this Windows installer version should be 4 or more than 4. Okay, so how to find my Windows installer version? Right, if you go to the run, okay, just type msi exec in the run, just type msi exec, so you can see Windows installer and the version is 5.0. Okay, so it is more than 4, so we don't have any issues in installing the SQL server, right? So these are all your minimum hardware requirements and minimum software requirements for installing your SQL server, right? So now let me start installing the SQL Server 2005, right? So before installing, usually if you want to install anything, what we will do, we will copy it in the pen drive. Okay, we will open to install, right? Or else like we will directly copy from the pen drive to the local hard disk. Then from there we are going to install. But I don't have any software in the local machine. Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, why we need .NET Framework?
.NET framework. See, you are going to use SSMS, right? SQL Server Management Studio. This Management Studio is built based on the .NET framework only. If you want to use any user interface, graphical user interface, for that you should have .NET framework. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So if I want to install SQL Server 2005, I should have SQL Server 2005 software, right? So I don't have SQL Server 2005 software in my local C drive. Okay, here I don't have SQL Server 2005 software. What I have to do, either I have to copy the SQL Server 2005 software to the C drive, right? I have to copy the SQL Server 2005 software to the C drive, or else I have to attach the software, okay, to the D drive, right? So if you want to copy the SQL Server 2005, it will take time. So what I'll do, I'll attach my SQL Server 2005 software in the D drive. So how to attach the SQL Server 2005 software? We are going to use SQL Server 2005 ISO images. Okay, we will have in the organization. If you go to the organization also, they are going to use ISO images only. Okay, right. But in the organization, how we are going to do? In the organization, we will have one shared path. Okay, to install anything, a shared path will be provided by the company. This shared path will be accessible from all the Windows servers, from all the Windows servers. Okay, you have to log into the Windows server, you have to open the shared path. There you will have SQL Server softwares, all softwares like 2005, 8, 8, R2, 12, 14, 16, 17, 19. All softwares will be there in that shared path. You have to copy that software from the shared path to the local C drive. Then once the software is copied to the local C drive or D drive, usually we are going to use D drive, not C drive in the organization. We are going to use D drive. Okay, once we just copy that particular software to the D drive, then we have to right click the software and you have to mount. You can see one option called mount option. Just mount it. If you see mount option, then automatically that software folder will be opened. Okay, as of now what I am doing, I am simply attaching the SQL Server 2005 software to the D drive. See here, you don't see anything, right? You can see only CD drive, D drive, right? So let me attach the software. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, how to attach any software? This is my Oracle VirtualBox Manager. Okay, right click, go to settings. Okay, go to storage. Like how we have attached the Windows Server software, right? In the same way, we have to attach SQL Server software also. Select this Windows Server. Okay, click on this CD button. Okay, just go to, there is no SQL Server 2005 in this list, right? Okay, choose virtual optical disk file. Okay, go to the SQL Server softwares. Right, that's it. Okay, just click OK. Fine, it was attached. Okay, right. Now you can see, earlier you can see D drive here. Now you can see software is attached to the D drive. Okay, right. Right, now let me open this software. Open. Okay, so you can see three folders right here: Itanium, x64, x86. Itanium, these are all processors. Okay, x64 processor, x86 processor. X86 means 32-bit. 32-bit are very old machines. 32-bit machines are very old machines. Okay, we are not going to use x86 at all. Itanium processors are these processors separately built for HP machines. Okay, you know HP laptops, right? So for HP laptops, this Itanium processor separately built. So Microsoft gave separate folders for Itanium. So if you want to install SQL Server on HP machines, you have to open this one, but we are not going to use this one. If you have HP laptop also, don't use this one. Okay. The other option is SQL Server x64. This is the only option we have. Just go to this x64 option folder. There you can see servers. Go to the servers. There you can see setup file. Okay, you can see two setup files. So can anyone tell me which setup file I have to open?
Second
Application.
one.
Application one. Very good. Okay, this is simply a small icon. Okay, you can see the size, nothing is there. This is just an icon. Okay, just use this application one. Okay, application is there, right? So this is your setup file. Okay, right click whenever you are doing anything, whenever you are installing anything, try to open the applications with run as administrator. If you have any issues, any errors and all, if you open the application with run as administrator, most of the errors will be fixed by opening the applications as run as administrator. Okay, right click this setup file, run as administrator. Right, okay. So this is compatibility issues. Why? Because you are installing SQL Server 2005 on 2008 R2, right? Windows Server 2008 R2, right? Means when compared to the SQL Server version, Windows Server version is somewhat higher, okay? That's why you can see the compatibility issue. No problem at all. You can install 2005 on Windows Server 2008 R2, right? Just click on don't show message, click on run program.
Now you are doing in VirtualBox.
Yes, yes, I am doing in the virtual machine.
For installation process in VirtualBox, you have to attach the file.
Yes, yes. If you want to install the SQL Server, we have to install, we have to attach that file in the VirtualBox Manager.
Okay.
Okay, right. Let me click on this setup file. You can see setup file is open. Just click here. I accept for any software, you know, right? I accept licensing terms will be there. Just click on I accept. Go to next. Okay, just these are the supported files. Okay, these are the supported files. Automatically, if you click install, automatically these supported files are going to install. Okay, these two supported files are installed. Just click on next. Okay, just click on next again. Right, these are the configuration checks. Okay, system configuration check, what and all we have discussed it, right? The minimum hardware requirements, software requirements, everything we have discussed it, right? So this system configuration check will check your server whether this server is suitable for installing SQL Server 2005 or not. Okay, you will have almost all 14 checks. In these 14 checks, it will check whether this machine is suitable for installing SQL Server software or not. Okay, so in this 14 checks, you can see 12 checks are success and there is no errors and 2 warnings are there. If warnings are there, no problem, we can proceed for installing the SQL Server. Okay, if any errors are there, even though one error is there, even one error is there, okay, you will not see the next button here. Okay, that means what is the meaning of that one error? That means your server is not suitable for installing the SQL Server. Your Windows Server is not suitable for installing your SQL Server 2005. So we have to check which check is failed and we have to troubleshoot accordingly. If any check is failed, okay, and why this check is failed, and we have to start troubleshooting accordingly. But even though if one error is there, you cannot proceed for installations. Warnings, no problem. How many warnings are there? No issues. But error should not be there for installing any software and this equals are 2005 as well. Right, now let me click next. Okay, so this is the registration information and the key and all, so no need to worry about this one. Just go to next. Right, components, we have discussed these components, right? Last time we have discussed the components. in the beginning of the session means like in the last session, we have discussed what are the components of the SQL Server, okay, database engine services, right? Database engine services, analysis services, reporting services, and integration services. These are the components, right? So here you can see what components you want to install now. See, if you want analysis services, reporting services, notification services, and all, there is no reporting in 2005. Okay. So if you want those services, client will tell you if they need those services. If they didn't tell you means no need to install this analysis, integration, reporting services, and all. Okay, but for working with SQL Server, you should have database engine. SQL Server database engine should be there if you want to work with the SQL Server, if you want to store the data, if you want to process the data, if you want to retrieve the data, you should have SQL Server database engine services. Means this is the one, okay, right? So if they need analysis services, reporting services, integration services, and all, they will mention in the ticket. Based on that, you have to install. If they don't mention in the ticket, no need to install. And select this one. What and all it will contains means it will contain help documents. It will contain management studio, SQL Server management studio. It will contain configuration manager. All the tools will be there in this component. Okay, workstation components, books online, development tools, all your management studio, configuration manager, and all the help documents will be there in this check, and your database engine will be there in this check. Okay, right, go to next. Right now we have two instances. Okay, so in the SQL Server there are two types of instances. One is default instance, second one is named instance. Okay, so you may ask what is the difference between default instance and named instance. There is no difference at all. Okay, there is no even single difference also. Then why we have two instances, two types of instances, if there is no difference? Okay, naming wise it is different, that's it. Functionality wise there is no difference at all. Functionality wise means working. Okay, features, all the features that are there in the default instance, same features will be there in both the instances. So functionality wise there is no difference at all in the default instance and named instance. Only naming convention. If you select default instance, the name will be different. Instance name, instance means what? One SQL Server is equal to one instance. Okay, instance means don't think like this is a different word. We will not call SQL Server as a professionals. We have to call SQL instance. But actually SQL instance is nothing but one SQL Server. One instance is equal to one SQL Server. Like that, you can install 50 instances in a single machine. Okay, you can install 50 instances, means 50 SQL Server softwares in one Windows server. Up to 50 instances, you cannot install more than 50. You can install up to 50 instances in one Windows server machine. Okay, in this 50 instance, one default instance, and the second one is remaining 49 named instances you can install. But actually in the organizations we will not install multiple instances in a single box. Mostly we will install only one instance per box. Mostly in some cases we will install two instances, three instances, and all. Okay, sometimes if the environment is very big, very complicated, in such cases we are going to install five instances per box. Okay, we will not install 50 instances in a box. Okay, performance wise it's not good, but we can install 50 instances, but we will not install 50 instances in any case. Okay, so we can install only one default instance per machine. Remaining 49 are named instances, right? So what is the difference between default instance and named instance? Only naming difference, only the naming convention. If you select default instance, it will take computer name as a SQL Server name. If you select default instance, it will take computer name as a SQL Server instance name. If you select named instance, see here, whenever you select named instance, it was this column was enabled automatically. Means what? You have to provide the instance name here. That's why it was enabled. If you select this one, it is not asking the instance name. If you select this one, you have to provide the instance name. So the difference between default instance and named instance is the naming convention. Default instance, by default, it will take the computer name as an instance name, and named instance, you have to provide the name separately. Right? Now the question is, how many default instances I can install in a machine?
Only one.
Only one default instance. Why?
Their rules, I think.
Of course, the rule only. Why only one default instance?
Because
Sorry.
because one server,
Okay.
because the system is one, the computer is one, so
Okay.
one it will take the computer name one now. That's what.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Okay. This
Okay.
session is going to close now. Okay. For every session, there will be 40 minutes interval. Okay. Once 40 minutes limit is over, automatically session will be closed. Okay. Again, I'll open the meeting link. Just join all. Okay.